Hi, Wellspring families. How are you? How are your hearts and bodies and souls and spirits? I just think it's a great place to stop and think and sort of take inventory of how your family is, and then remember that all of our practices start from a place of God's extravagant love and grace gift first to us, and to receive that afresh again. That while we were sinners, while we were far from God, Christ died so that we could be brought close to God and be welcomed. And that's really what our practice centers on this week, is that God asks us to love our enemies. And what a difficult and unnatural practice that is. So this week, as you take time to talk about this with your family, the practical implementation will look probably mostly like a conversation, a Bible story, and a prayer. But if God leads it farther than that, then go where he leads. So for our family, it helped to do this in story form. We read the story of the Good Samaritan out of one of the kids' Bibles, and then talked about, who does God ask us to love? Is it just our friends? Is it just those who do something nice to us, then we do something nice for them? Or do we love people who are strangers, or even love people who might not be kind to us, or who we might perceive as our enemies? It was a really great conversation. And an important part of this practice as parents is going to be modeling humility. At least it was for us. Because in our conversation, our kids pipe up and, you're not always nice to people. And it had to be a moment of recognizing, no, I'm not. And I need God's help in this area as well. I'm not perfect at this. And I'm growing and asking him to make my heart more like his, just like you will need God's help to love your enemies. Then we took time for our kids to just be able to share, who are some difficult people that you've encountered in your life? Maybe it was somebody on the playground that wasn't nice, or on the sports field, unsportsmanlike conduct. Maybe it's somebody that you just don't get along with, and it's easier to exclude them than to include them. Or, maybe it's somebody at school that you've experienced bullying. But who are the difficult people? And then can we pray for them? And can we ask God to help you love them? And just giving them a chance to share. I know for our kids that they had just encountered somebody on the playground that was calling them names, and so it was a great opening conversation to just naturally you want to be mean back, but that isn't what God asks us to do, and following Christ is very different from the way of the world. And then taking some time to pray with your kids. Pray first of all to bless that person, that God would love them, that God would reveal his love to them, that he would show himself good and kind in their life, that he would help them. And just spending time to pray for the good of that person can be so good for our hearts. And secondly, asking God that he would soften our hearts and make them more like the Father's, that welcomes and draws sinners and those enemies in close to his family. So I pray that your family will be blessed as you continue to just take a few moments each week and set aside time to focus on God, to grow, and to allow him to shape you and your lives.